Welcome to Lead Live, reminding you of your personal genius and how you think in order to actualize what you desire.
Once again, it's great to see you. And more importantly, we feel honored to be in a place where we can inspire, hopefully, all of you, those who are viewing live, those who are viewing later, and leave you with some practical information or information you can use right away to enhance what you're doing in your life, your own leadership. As you lead within formal businesses, your own, others' businesses, as you lead within your homes, with your families, in your neighborhoods, your communities. We are about the business of adding value. And so we always want you to come prepared to, in fact, be inspired, to learn, to grow, and to provide us with input because we expect that you have expertise that we don't. So your questions that you pose, your statements that you share, your insight that you share helps to build out a body of intelligent insights that all of us can leverage. So thank you for being here at Lead Live. We broadcast every Wednesday, noon hour. And as we said, and as we always say, we're about leadership, excellence, and achievement on demand. And yes, we do mean on demand. We're all leading in different ways in our lives. And so a great deal of our leadership is really driven by the mindset, our own mindset, how we envision the world around us. And we can use simple means to convey that, or we can just simply say, the degree to which we believe that we can achieve whatever it is that our vision has, that we created, we're more likely to achieve that, especially when we have a burning desire for that. We're emotionally committed. Today's topic is the how-tos, some of the how-tos, not the complete set of how-tos, because arguably there's as many how-tos as there are in terms of the billions of people on this planet. And then you take that to a different level when you multiply that based upon masterminding concepts. I know I'm going a little bit to the side for a moment, but I want you to know that we want you to think about financial freedom. We want you to think about your financial legacy. And yes, yours, not mine, not others, your own. What is it that you want to achieve in this lifetime financially? Perhaps it's millions of dollars. I know some individuals who want to achieve billions. One has already done that. And yet, many of us just want to feel sufficiently free where we can anticipate what's going to happen to some degree, year to year, and we have the reserves available at our disposal in order to respond to what we anticipate, even some of the things that we don't want. When we think about financial freedom, and we think, and even before financial legacy, before I define it in a way, because you define it for yourself, I want to talk about the obvious things that happen in life that are part of the physical. And I'm referencing a book that nicely summarized a great deal. And I'm going to ask Jet to put it on the screen. It's The Financial Pocket Knife, Beating the Dream Killers, exclamation mark, by James L. Stoddard Jr. Thank you, Jet. The Financial Pocket Knife, Dream Killers. But it's more than just dream killers, because I want to make it very clear. Some of these things, if we are planning accordingly, they don't kill our dreams. They help us understand what we need to do in order to ensure that we actualize our dreams. So let's look at one quadrant. This is on page 109. Physical. The reality is that we're born, at some point we're going to die. We don't know if it's going to be pretty quickly, unfortunately, for those babies that don't stay here very long, they make an impact still. Or whether we're going to be here 100 years, 101, 120, we don't know. Hopefully, all of us are making the kind of impact that we want to make, positive. We're growing the ways we want to grow. So we're really living. We're having fun. We're healthy. We're beautiful families, or we're creating those beautiful families if we've never experienced them. We have faith, whatever that means for us. So death is one of those physical realities. Illness is another reality. And some of us have experienced some illness in our lives, some of us very few, if any. We're fortunate that way. We can't assume that tomorrow will be as it has been. Chronic illnesses, oh my goodness, too many loved ones. I'm sure this may resonate with you, given last year, especially coronavirus 19 pandemic and 2020 that we experienced, and we're still experiencing it in this year, 2021. Disability, so-called living too long. What does that mean? That can be a challenge if we've not planned to live to 90, if we've not planned to live to 100, if we've not even planned to live to 60. It's a whole nother discussion among young people, young adults, and teenagers who, because of what they're experiencing in their local environment, whether it's a farm, whether it is a village, whether it's a local rural community or a bustling city, they're experiencing a lot of deaths around them. And so they don't perceive themselves as being here long. Let's assume that each one of you who may be in that emotional space because of real experiences, you break out of it and say, I may live to the age of 55. I may live to the age of 90. I may live to the age of 102. How do I prepare to be as comfortable, thriving, happy as I want to be? And then there's the financial realities, which is, of course, our topic today. Inflation, market, taxes, liquidity, debt, cash flow. Then there's environmental realities. Yes, definitely, as we think about climate and other kinds of things, but let's even narrow down to things that are more concrete for people immediately. Life emergencies, legal issues, poor economy, a loss of job. Personal, lack of knowledge. We all only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. So we share that. But a lack of knowledge as relates to finances creates a challenge. And even when we plan, if we have insufficient information, we're not likely to be as successful as we'd like to be because we don't know what we don't know. So knowledge is so critical. Fear. And if we're in a relationship, the loss of that relationship in whatever way, whether it's divorce, whether it's through death, unfortunately, whether it's through some other means. Procrastination, another personal. So let's back up a little bit. What is financial freedom? One way to think about it is in terms of financial independence. Having enough money, having enough income to pay one's expenses for the rest of their life. Living expenses, whether it's housing, whether it's food, whether it's clothing, all the basic health care, emergency care, you have children, college education, your own education, continued education if you wish, anything that you see that's critical. Being able to support families, being able to support communities, businesses, society in ways that you deem most valuable as a philanthropist, or just because you can. Not being overly stressed and worried about what's going to happen next month if I lose my job, or what's going to happen because I was among those 20 plus million people in the US alone who did lose their job. What's going to happen? And so you're stressed and not waiting for a windfall somewhere, but you have some predictability. You understand what's going to happen tomorrow. The stress levels that drop. And we know that stress is the number one precondition, if you will, factor to people's physical distress, let alone ailments, critical ailments, as well as leading to trauma within a household, within a family, within even communities, etc. So financial independence frees you from a lot of those stresses. Doesn't guarantee that you're not going to experience them, but you're in a better situation, a better state to be able to manage them because you have the means of exchange to manage around and to address those things. You're no longer in debt. You don't have to worry about rental expenses. You own your home. You don't have to worry about a mortgage. You're free of all that. You want to travel, if you want to spend time just enjoying your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your colleagues who may still have to work, your loved ones. You're able to just do that. You're able to walk the lake, run, bike, hike, camp, fish, canoe, climb mountains, go and spend months at a time just helping communities build homes, cultivate the soil, ensure that there's enough nourishment coming out of that soil for that particular village. If you want to help build an infrastructure in a community, within your community, you have that luxury. Shouldn't be a luxury, but you can call it luxury to do what adds value. And yes, some of us want to make certain that we're contributing in remarkable ways to the infrastructure of this country. Yet we don't want our taxes, 100% of them, or 100% of our cash flow, I should say, and our savings to go to taxes. We want enough to secure our own continued lifestyle and to be able to do the next thing, which is leave a legacy. Again, we don't know if we're going to be here 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years, but when we leave, hopefully we've left it better. We've engaged in financial education. We know now what we didn't know before. We're able to pass it on to our children, our godchildren, our great children, grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, our siblings, our friends, in a way where everyone's better off. Why is there 95% of us in one category and 5% of us in another category? Meaning so-called middle America, where we're earning less than 100K or less a year, and then the 5% earning well in excess of 200K or more a year, or just take the 1% earning 400,000 or more. Why is that the case? Does it always have to be that way? I'm humble enough to know that it is the case because we lack sufficient financial information. I'm also sufficiently knowledgeable to know that there are infrastructures in place that helps to perpetuate that. I'm sufficiently aware to know that we can burst that bubble. We can shift that 95% to where they have more resources. And it's not just 5% and then end up 1%. And if we don't watch it, less than 1% have the assets to live the life that many of us dream of. We can create that. And part of the Lead Live is about helping to remind us that we are responsible for creating the lives that we imagine. Yes, there are constraints, but that's all they are. They're constraints. And with the knowledge that you gain, whether it's through text or through other people with the expertise who've done it very well, thank you very much. And you don't have to do it, you have to go through all the mistakes. Leverage those who are successful to learn and then begin to create your own path. So, what is this thing I call legacy? Isn't that what you want to do? It's a gift, it's a bequeath, it's what you give to those who are your beneficiaries, whether it's your children, whether it's your husband, whether it's your wife, whether it's your community, whether it's your church, whether it is your school, nonprofit school, or even a school that is revenue generating, that is profit oriented. Who are you wanting to bequeath your legacy to? your property, your resources. That's what legacy is about. And so, do you want to build it in a massive way, including that financial education, so that the subsequent generations are better off? So, whether we talk about the example that I like to use because it's such a salient example, for those of you who know about the Rockefellers and their wealth, their continuous compounding of their wealth, so that future generations are always ultra wealthy, compared to the Vanderbilts, who had great, enormous wealth, and yet they did something that's suggest an abolition uh, of that wealth, or this sense of entitlement that didn't leverage the old knowledge, and then ultimately led to discrete individuals, not a family, maintaining that wealth, but discrete individuals sharing that wealth, and in a way where over time the wealth diminished. The motto of the Rockefellers, independent of the character of the man, there's value and there's challenges, but the family legacy leverage things that are accessible to everyone because they're codified in IRS tax codes. So the question is, how do we learn about those things? So before we go there, I want to back up a little bit. I said about financial freedom, and we love the idea of I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a billionaire. Well, most people I know really are not caught up in wanting to be a millionaire or a billionaire. What they're caught up in is wanting to live and live a life free of stress. Know that they have the resources to do what they want to do, whatever that is. So, whether you're like that classic person, and I know a number of them who are literally financially independent, they can work if they want to, they don't have to. And I know a lot of them who want that, and yet they're working all the time and they are in a great deal of stress. Or whether you want the other extreme of a lot of money. The key thing to me, fundamentally, and I know that a lot of folks I know share this, is the value of understanding your faith and being able to live in a way that you can live with integrity because you're following your values. You're inspired by your values. You're comforted by your values. So that core set of values really informs your faith. That you honor your family, or you build a family that you can honor. That you literally are taking care of this temple, the human body. We're spirit forms, I firmly believe. We're energetic, we vibrate, and we're in these temples for a short term. No, I don't think we ever actually leave existence. And we come from a source, we go back to that source, and while we're here, we're part of that source. Infinite knowledge, infinite understanding, and yet in these human bodies, we're contained. We don't remember what we will once again remember. Humbly speaking, I know I seem to be going out there for some of you, and I want you to just receive, even though you may not agree or believe, receive for a moment. Let this whole session allow you to suspend disbelief and be open to what I'm sharing. More than just the fundamentals of finance, I'm talking about broadly the universal laws. We'll come back to that again in a previous episode. We talk about that. For now, I want you to be thinking about your path. How do you get to financial freedom? And I interrupted what I was talking about earlier. I'll come back to that. How do you move in the path of financial freedom? You first define it for yourself. Literally, what is your big dream in that regards? And maybe it's bigger. Okay. What's your real big dream? You want to retire at 35. You're going to retire at 50. You're going to, whatever that means. Or you're going to never retire because you love what you do and you get so much from it. And it allows you to give in a big way, whatever it happens to be. Then what do you need financially to ensure that the rest of your life is comfortable? We're able to do the kinds of things you want to do. What is that big dream? Is the dream to travel for 20 years and just experience the entire world? Is the dream to ensure that every child in your family goes to college and is able to succeed and not be worried about finances? Is the dream to ensure that your children get to understand the power of finance, and before they're 25 years old or they're 30 years old, they have all the access to resources that they need to be able to do whatever they want to do for the rest of. What is your dream? Be clear, write it down, and then ask yourself, what does that cost? What are your annual expenses? Multiply that. Let's just say you're 20 years old. Multiply that by no less than 40 years, assuming that you're going to be 60. Or maybe others would say 20 years. I would say 40 years. And then ask yourself, oh my goodness, it looked like a big number. Well, on the surface, it may be a big number. Or for some of you to say, that's a small number. I already see I'm going to create that. And so the question, how do you get there? So one, after you've dreamed big and you've reduced it down to, in terms of finances, a number, however you do it, and then you establish your financial freedom plan. What does that entail? At the very least, it entails the following: asking yourself how to best generate resources. Those who are financially independent, they've done a variety of different things. I know some folks who literally save, put it in particular instruments, they get a high rate of return, and then watch it grow because they didn't need to move it. It was fixed, and then they were happy. Other people take advantage of the market, ups and downs, and try to play with it, and they're successful because they have the right expertise. May have taken them a little bit longer, who knows, maybe shorter. Other people put their money, like the Rockefellers, into instruments that have a history, over 100-year history of rate of returns, that if you just write it and you have the right instrument created with the right expertise to ensure that it's on target, your wealth just grows and it compounds with zero risk. That's a whole nother conversation. In fact, if you want to hear more about those details as it relates to you, Jet, would you put up this link that literally allows you to get a financial assessment, a complimentary a personal financial review? Take a screenshot of that. And would you also put that in the comment section as well, just in case it's not already done? And I see Jerry. Oh, Jerry, thank you so much. And Jerry says, as the middle class shrinks and shifts downward, and literally each year, this information will help change this shifting momentum. Thank you, Jerry. He ought to know. He's in the financial services industry, one of our remarkable experts with his partner, Olive. Thank you for sharing this. All people need financial literacy and shouldn't just be for the wealthy. God bless. Same to you, Jerry. It's an absolute honor. So let's go. So how to get to this on the path to financial freedom, financial independence? Dream big, not small. I don't care what your history was with whomever it was and how you grew up, or maybe because of that, you step outside of that and say, what is dreaming big for me? If you think I need $1 million in retirement and that's big, I'm going to say push it. Go to 5, go to 10. Dream big. And the best dreams to have are the ones you don't know how to get there. You're like, what? That's counterintuitive. Well, let me say something. You bought a house. You already know how to do it, right? There's nothing extraordinary about buying a house. Are you going to be emotionally committed to the process of buying another house? Not in the same way you were the first time. So when you have a dream that is powerful, that's out of this world, not only do you want to keep it sacred, you don't want to share it with the world, because most people are going to look at you like you're odd. You remind me of this person I know as Dr. Webb or Tina or Elnora, whatever they call that woman. She's always thinking big. That is what you want to do. In fact, if I didn't think big, I would have accepted that mentally retarded description of me as a grade school kid. I remember looking at the adults who were talking to around me and saying, "Oh, she's mentally retarded based upon the test, etc." And I rose to the level of expectations until I decided not to. So the point is, you break out of the stuff. Whatever you've experienced is just that. You get to choose. So dream big. Next thing is establish your financial freedom plan. What does that mean? Clarify how you're going to do it. Don't expect to know all the how. Allow the universe to give it to you. So I'm going to encourage you, as Jerry would, read The Power of Zero. Would you put that up, Jet? By David McKnight. I can't emphasize enough the power of zero. This will ground you, folks. So some folks say, and there's a question that we're going to see later on, and it talks about all these different governmental programs that are going to be there to protect us because they were there for our parents, our grandparents, et cetera. But let me be very clear. They were based on some fundamental economic principles. So one of the things when for example, Social Security was created. Did you know that there was 42 people working to one person who was retired? Let me get that number right. 42 people working to one person retired. So it just made sense that Social Security would work, right? But guess what? Just recently, that number dropped to 3 people working to one person retired. So that's why the economists and other financial experts, let alone the pundits, talk about Social Security, we're running out of money. Well, the issue is there's not enough people working to support the folks who are retiring to ensure Social Security will be there for us in the future. Well, I think it's going to be there. But the only way for it to be there is for the taxes to go up. And so some folks say, well, taxes are already at an all-time high. How could it possibly go up? Well, let me tell you something. You read The Power of Zero. You read other books by people who are they've researched the realities. And you even know in my lifetime, income taxes they were either 80%, and for some people, they were 90%. And you're like, what? No, 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 no. Income taxes have never been that high. Yes, they have. And so they can double again. They can go more than double for some of us who are at the 25% or 30% tax rate. So this whole notion of expecting in the future when you retire, all your money is going to be there if you've got them in particular accounts, et cetera, hopefully so. And hopefully you'll not only have the money there, you'll have growth there. But what if, in fact, the taxes are double and you're in instruments where you have to pay taxes on that retirement earning? Better to pay the taxes now than later. There are a lot of what ifs. So when you plan, you want to plan it in a strategic way, not just because everyone's doing this or everyone's doing that. Get the information yourself. Understand it as discrete level. Let me tell you, I have for years, as I built up Signature Solutions Corporate Results, my business, I would farm out financial services. Someone needed financial services, whether it's for a business, for an individual, I would send them to people who I knew were expert, whether it was to address credit issues or help them plan or be as advisors. Now, I decided to bring that in-house. I'm not interested in being a financial advisor or a financial planner. My role and my team's role and the people with whom I work, like Jerry, is to be financial educators so that we help you plan your own financial conditions. So when you have the knowledge, no one can just say, well, this is what's best for you. You can, with judgment, say, but I understand this, and then go deeper. And then they can say, yeah, but we really don't offer that at our business. Okay, then you go someplace where you get what you need. You go, whether it's to a broker like us or you go someplace else. But the key thing, you want to have the content. You want to have the knowledge to make the right kind of decision, and that should inform your plan. So establish your financial freedom plan. And that includes the details, being educated, and deciding the sources of income. Do you want one source of income? So you're working, or you own your own business, or you want passive income from another source because you can. multiple streams of income. Sounds smart. That is, unless you can find something that is one stream that within it has multiple streams that actually add values, or one thing that's like a phone that gives you everything that you want inside your phone. So at one point, we needed televisions, and only we could see what we need to see through televisions. We needed a computer, and only computer could we do what we need to do on a computer. We needed a camera separate, like I have a camera here, and I'm looking at my computer. We needed special lighting. Well, guess what? In phones now, we not only have that, we have calculators. We have all this in one. What if there was a product that had the kinds of things that you needed? But you have to first know what you need. That a product that would give you what you needed with compound interest and a guaranteed that you would not lose your money. Would you consider that? First of all, most people say that's too good to be true. Well, that's why the Rockefellers are ultra wealthy, because they did not only hear that, understand that, and for over 100 years are leveraging that resource that's accessible to you and I. So, the other thing in terms of your freedom plan, your financial freedom plan, you have debt, be clear, you can be out of debt. I don't care if, and I'm being real with you, I don't care if your debt's $10,000, $50,000, $500,000. The debt that you created, the debt that you established, the debt for whatever rational reasons, be it to unfortunate health circumstances, be to unfortunate impact of COVID-19, where you had to rely on your credit cards because you lost your job, whatever, you can eliminate that debt. Question is, are you ready to release it? Are you ready to change the paradigm and say, I'm in debt, I'm stressed, I can't get out? Are you ready to change that paradigm? You can do it. Many people have done it, and they're probably not as insightful, ready, prepared as you are. Think about that. In addition to eliminating debt, you want to get to a place where you have a minimum of 1 year of emergency funds. People are like, well, I always heard 3 months or 6 months. Yeah. And I've always said 1 year to my network of folks. And I didn't even know why I was saying 1 year. But guess what happened last year? You already can fill in the blank. People were literally, we were all sequestered across this planet. We could not navigate in the way that we were used to navigating. And too many of our businesses had to fold, which affected countless number of lives, not just the folks who were employed in those businesses, including the owners, but the different organizations and communities and families that relied on those businesses. Invest. Invest in a way, or a better way, leverage. Leverage instruments that will give you a rate of return that allows you to compound your rate of return, uh, and create new principles without any negative downside. Yes, it is possible. I have to emphasize, I have had too many people when they hear it from me directly and we're in conversations that, oh, that's just too good to be true. And then I pull out something and show it to them. The financial pocket knife, read that. The Power of Zero, Jet put these up, read that. The Family Bank Strategy, read that. The Retirement Miracle, read that. I have at least 35 books that I would easily say read, and then I've got another 15 that I would say luxury read that just reinforces and goes into greater detail. There are a lot of experts on this planet, including in the United States of America, who know the facts. And the facts tend to be shared with the ultra wealthy, those who already have money, because those experts are able to provide them with more and reap the benefits of providing them with more. Well, what if you had someone like me and my colleagues and others who don't charge you for giving you this information because we really want you to be educated? We don't charge you. Yes, I know it's hard to believe, maybe. You only pay for what you purchase through whatever company that you choose to assign yourself or align yourself with in order to get these benefits. So, what are among these benefits? There are a number. I'm just going to talk about a few of the benefits. Think about benefits in terms of savings, interest, liquidity, tax advantage, tax free, and protection for creditors. Just want you to think about that. I won't go into all the details. We'll do that one on one. Think about protection. Protection in terms of your life, assuming that you have um, issues, whatever they are, health issues that come up that you couldn't anticipate, that you have living benefits to address those things, or you need cash to pull out to address the need to build a business, to purchase a home, to retrofit a home, to pay for college education. So the question is, do you understand the power of indexing, leveraging a tax advantaged account called Index Universal Life? I want you to really listen. Think about indexing. If you've never heard of it, I want you to hear about it now. And more importantly, I want you to study indexing. I don't want you to say, oh, that's interesting. I heard indexing and that's it. You're 18 years old. I want you to use it now. You're 25. I want you to study it now. You're 40. Please stop what you're doing. You've got a family. Definitely use it now. You're 70 years old. No, it is not too late. Leverage it for your family, especially. It's not the only option, but it's one of the most powerful options. And quite frankly, what we call life insurance with the cash accumulation has been around for over 100 years. And the ultra wealthy leverage it, the banks leverage it to actually, because they're revenue generating entities, they're profit oriented entities. Where do they get a lot of their revenue from? Through these same instruments. Corporations, they leverage it. CEOs, what do? Do they put their money in the bank? Maybe some in order to access them, because banks, they have utility, they're important to us. Yet a significant portion of their dollars go into these insurance instruments that accumulate cash, and they use indexing that ensures that they get better than just a 1% return on their money. Why allow someone else to get more than a 1% return on your money when you can do it? You can just go directly and do it. So, how much do you need? Do you need $500 a month? Do you need $50,000 a month? Do you need $100,000 a month? Yes, people fall in different categories and they need these things for rational reasons. And some people say, all you need is $100,000 a year. For some people. For others, they need much more. And still, for others, they need even less. The question is, what works for you that ensures your financial freedom? Once you've established that, then consider that you're going to be here for a while, hopefully, benefiting all of us. Your healthy life benefits the rest of us, even if we never get to meet you. That's why this information is for you, and it's important for you to leverage it. Where is your money? Strategic folks diversify where they place their money. I'll restate that. Folks who are strategic about their savings and generating compounding effects on their savings, so they have actually a new principal every year and it grows, it never falls. And if the market or an index or anything they're tied to drops, they have some level of certainty, if not absolute certainty, which there's possible with index universal life policies, to stay at zero or slightly above zero, depending upon the instrument that you choose to leverage. We talk about legacy. And I know there's a couple of questions, so I'm going to emphasize the importance of legacy for a moment. What if I told you that you could, for your child, put away 28,000 from that child's birth to 14 years of age, and stop putting any money in it, what we call an IUL. By the time, again, you put nothing else into that account, just 28,000. And the interest rate, let's just say that it's at least 8%. Even if it's 6%, but let's say it's 8%. That's accumulated every single year on that 28,000. The compounding effects by the time that person is in her 60s is over $1 million in that account, well in excess of that. But let's say that that child who becomes an adult, the parents leverage it for that child's education, whatever it is, 2 years, 4 years, whatever. And they take it out as a loan. It's not taxed. Emphasis on it's not taxed. And when they take it out as a loan, guess what happens? I want you to think about this. That account still operates as though the funds are there, and it continues to accrue the compounding effects of whatever that interest rate is based upon that index, assuming the index is going up. There's much more to this. I won't go into all the discrete details, but I want you to think about that. Let's say years later that was once child, now adult, looking to buy her first home. Parents say, it's your account. You can take out 100,000, but take it out as a loan. Because if you take it out as cash, it's taxed. You take it out as a loan, it's still part of your Index Universal Life account, and it continues to compound. And you can pay it back during the course of your life or not. And there's more to the details of that, okay? It's an abbreviated story, folks. What if you can do that? Do that now and ensure that you are able to leverage the resources to your advantage, to your family's advantage. You not only do that, for your immediate family, you do that for your expanded family. And what if you think about that in terms of what we call a family bank, which is more details than what I've just let on? And that's why we reference the book by David Phillips, The Family Bank Strategy. What if you just rethought the way you do finance, and it's not just about you? It's not just about you and your husband and your children. It's about the entire family, maybe your grandparents, your in-laws, etc. We're talking about the Entitlement Abolishment by Douglas Andrew. Can you place that on the screen, Jet? The Entitlement Abolition, excuse me. The Entitlement Abolition, or Entitlement Abolition. I see where I'm going in terms of enunciation. How to lead your family from me to we. I told Jet I was going to start off with a story. I don't think I did. But the story that comes to mind right now is the perception that I have, or perspective that I have about us as a species. So we're human, right? What does that mean? Means that we get to live a life and we don't know how long it's going to be. We get to grow in whatever way we choose. We get to function in whatever way we choose. Yes, there's constraints in our society and all of our societies across this planet that says you can do these things and you're within the borders. You got outside of the borders, you deal with the consequences. Well, let's assuming that we're operating within the appropriate borders that allows us to live with dignity, with respect. We are living consistent with our values. But let's say that we really want to make a powerful impact and we want to be free from the constraints of stress. We don't want our loved ones to be concerned about whether they have housing tomorrow. And we're witnessing a proliferation of people who are unhoused. They're couch surfing. They're living in the streets. They're living in their cars. And yet we want to make a profound impact in that regards. And why? Why do we go to work for other people? Why are we passionate about that work as a social services worker? Why are we passionate about that work as an educator? Why are we passionate about creating new technology? What is it about us that wants to contribute to society, even when we're not even thinking that that's what we're doing? I think fundamentally at the core, our spirits remember the source from which we come. I think fundamentally we know that we are really connected. We need each other. And I think last year proved it more than many other years, at least in recent history, the importance of social human connection. I fundamentally believe that we come from the same source, we go back to the same source, and we're part of that same source while we're here. And take it to a different level, I fundamentally believe that we're one. Yes, I know you physically over there. I'm physically here. I am this distinct color. I'm honored to be Black, Latina, Native American with all this other ancestry from India, from France, from Spain, from Cuba, from wherever, definitely from the beautiful continent of Africa. Ancestors known and unknown. And so we're diverse. And yet we're almost 100% identical biologically. Did you know that? The difference between you and anyone else is minuscule. It's less than 1%. And did you know that there's more of a difference within a group, like say Black folks, than there is between groups, like say Black and white folks? Did you know that? Most of us are functioning as though the other is somehow not part of me. And when in fact, when we get rid of the other, we've gotten rid of a part of ourselves. So this financial education is really about how do we get all of us to a place, without exception? How do we get all of us to a place where we are without stress, where we're leveraging the tools that are available to create the kind of financial freedom that allows us to fully experience our faith, our families, or again, as I said, create the families that work for us. Be healthy physically and live happily with fun. Yes, there's always challenges. Yes, there's always distressors. Yet, when we remove the major stress from most of our lives, the financial, all of a sudden, we're free to focus and be open to addressing them in a way that is peaceful, honorable. Why do we have so much conflict around the planet? Because of this assumption that there's finite resources. Why do we have so much conflict around the planet? The assumption that I have to have what you have in order for me to have what I want. Why do we have so much conflict? Because I need to control you for my own good, and it's at your expense. Really? When we understand that we really come from the same source, we are part of the same source. I fundamentally believe, you don't have to agree, that we really are one. When we hurt the other, we're hurting ourselves. When we take from the other, we're negating ourselves. Well, it's not surprising to me when someone is ugly towards me. I realize that they're really dealing with their own stuff. So my compassion is deeper than it would normally be. That doesn't mean I allow them to harm me. That doesn't mean I don't stand up for myself. I've learned to do that over time. It's taken me a while. It does mean that I can be more compassionate because I realize they're stuck in their own way. Our role is to get us all unstuck in a way that fundamentally shifts the nature of humanity. And so when it comes to climate change or whatever stressors, we can flip the switch overnight when we recognize the power that we have and the connection that we already are. The connection that we already are. I know that sounds weird English-wise, but emphasis at it. Jet, would you share the first question? We're up to our necks in credit card debt. My wife and I work all the time. We are so stressed, and we both fear that it is affecting our health and our relationship. Options. Leave the question up there for a moment, please. Humbly, I say to you and your wife, honor your circumstances. You are on the path to releasing this struggle that you're in because you brought it to your consciousness. You've asked the question. Very proud of you. How do you de-stress? You first, in a compassionate way, sit down with your wife. Be open to hearing everything from your mouth, from your spirit, and her spirit. And say, what is it that we want? Yes, I'm going back to that formula I shared earlier. What do we want? Because what we focus on is what we draw to us. What we focus on is what we embed. We reinforce like a foundation, and we build it, we make it more solid. But everything has holes in it. Nothing is completely solid. So you get to literally shift where you're at. Decide where you want to be first. Then expect that you get to plan out of your circumstances. Leverage experts wherever you're at on the planet. Leverage us if you're in this country and you choose to. But leverage us, even if you're out of country and you want to communicate through Zoom, via email. That's the wonderful thing. Leverage someone. Read some of the texts we've shared, local texts that you're aware of. Expect that the answers will come from your taking action. That's so critical. You already have a burning desire to get out of this. You're stressed and you're working probably overtime. You can do it. Leverage, leverage, leverage. We all get to a better place because we've leveraged others. And what does that mean? Others who have expertise, who've done what we want to do, not people who are talking about it and are in the same state. No, people who have done it, know what it's about, and got out of it. That's who you want to leverage. And they've codified it in books. They talk about it. They make themselves available. Leverage. And leverage your own intuition. We talked about your mental tools in a previous episode. There's 6 major ones. You get those mental faculties and you impress them on the subconscious. You change your behavior. You change your results. So what did I not share? You want to definitely ask yourselves, are the expenses that I have right now or that we have right now literally expenses that we need to keep? Are we literally paying someone else to go get our groceries? I know it's convenient, but your added cost of what? $10 each pop? Save that $10. Are you eating out every day of the week? Save that money. I don't care if it's just $5 because you've gone to the burger stand. Save that $5. That's $35 a week times 4. It adds up. You time that across 12 months. Wow. How much money is that? Are you buying clothes you don't need that have tags still on them? Are you buying shoes that you never worn? Do you have furniture that you don't even use, that somebody else could use, that you can donate and write off on your taxes? Are you living a life that actually minimizes expenses, maximizes savings, and then you systematically use those savings to cut down on debt, and you reduce your expenses overall? There's more to this because we would do a financial analysis with you if you're interested. And then we would walk you through or help you walk yourself through the development of your plan. Then we would tell you about particular instruments that would accelerate the pace of you getting from where you're at to where you want to be. You can do it, and we have faith that you will do it. The first step is acknowledging it, and you've done that. And quite frankly, that's more than 30%. I know it seems trite, but it really is. Next question, Jet. Shouldn't we be secure that Social Security, Medicare, and other governmental support will be there for us when we retire? Oh, let me just say something about the other question. The debt issue, there are companies we do business with, and their role literally is to help you get out of debt. They literally systematically look at all of your credit card debt, anything else that you have, and help you work with your organizations where the debt lies to actually eliminate the debt, whether it's within a year, within 3 years, within 5 years, but you can begin to systematically relieve that stress. And I'm not talking about some high charging organization that takes your money and walks away and you're left out there. No, we're talking about legitimate firms that have been around whatever the number of years, be it 50 years, 100 years, but we're talking about legitimate firms that are accredited by the industry. Okay. So the next question, I'm sorry, Jet. Shouldn't we be secure that Social Security, Medicare, and other governmental support will be there for us when we retire? My parents and their parents seemed comfortable with them. Yes. And as I foreshadowed this question earlier, we know a lot about Social Security, and it's been reduced down to historical information and a number of texts, not just The Power of Zero by David McKnight. We also know a lot about Medicare and Medicaid, and that there's insufficient funds coming in terms of taxes to cover the actual expenses. Folks, we're living longer. That's the good news. Hopefully healthier, but that's not necessarily the case across the board. Men and women are living at least 9 years longer. At least, I think it's longer now, but it was 9 years longer compared to 1972 or 71. That's significant. We continue to do it because of our focus on our fitness, hopefully, or the love that we have and compassion and faith that we instill in what we do in our lives with our family and the community, hopefully. We're going to need to ensure that we have the financial assets to take care of us through our retirement, not until we retire, but through our retirement. And just remember, retirement, Social Security was not created to support people. It literally was not created with the assumption that people would live as long as they were living. We were living much shorter lives when Social Security was created. So it was really a stopgap measure for a few years. We're well exceeding that. So please gain intelligence, develop your financial education so that you understand the facts, and you're not 20 years old expecting things to be fine without any aggressive work on your behalf in 40 years. And then you end up wondering, oh, wait. It worked for somebody else, but it's not working for me. I think we have one last question or statement. I'm healthy, happy. I'm saying happy based upon knowing other parts of this statement that we couldn't show. I'm 33 years old, healthy, financially free, do not have to work. I have saved over 70% of my earnings, took advantage of high rates of returns. I did what my peers did not do, used a tax-free option. Folks, can't emphasize that enough. This person is only 33 years old. I know where the person resides. I know what the person does. They work part-time because they can't. This person chose not to just bring in $10,000 in the month. I'm so happy. And at the end of the month, I have $500 in the bank. No, it chose to live below their means, meaning just because you bring in 10,000 doesn't mean you spend 10,000. Why? Because you want to save now so your money works for you in your retirement. And you may retire at 33. You may retire at 50. You've got enough to be able to live the life you want to live, where you want to spend time giving to other people. Fine. Choose now to think big, to dream big. Choose now to plan. Choose now to leverage what's right in front of you. Leverage the tools that are available in plain sight. But most of us never learn about them. And if we do, it's like, wow, if I only knew what I now knew, I would be much better off. We don't want you to do that. We want you to leverage us now. We want you to leverage these tools now, be they books, be they online YouTube videos, wherever you can get the facts, but make certain you get the facts and not just a bunch of interesting statements being made. Go and have it backed up by facts. These books that we reference, they are backed up by research. So they're not just interesting people pontificating in text. These are folks who are either expert in the fields and they reference primary and secondary sources. So this is very personal to me. You are. You may be in Pakistan. You may be in Ghana. You may be in Mexico. You may be in London. You may be in Alabama. You may be in Los Angeles. You certainly could be in San Jose, Oakland, California, wherever you're at on the planet. Leverage, leverage, leverage. Dream big, plan. Be open, plan. Be emotionally committed, plan. Act,